Welcome back to Steele and Vance. We got to talk some politics here, municipal politics in particular.
Have you ever been asked by anyone to run for politics?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, me too. And I've thought, no,
never.
No, thank you, especially not in this toxic atmosphere. And this is astonishing to me. 37 mayors in this province have been reelected by acclamation because nobody is running against them. And I mean, some of those mayors, I wouldn't want to go up against them either.
One of them's here.
Our next guest, who is the mayor of Port Coquitlam, one of our favorite mayors in BC, Brad West. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, first of all. Were you surprised that nobody was going to challenge you?
I was surprised. I was ready for an election campaign, had everything ready to go. I was looking forward to it, and was checking in with City Hall on the day of the deadline to see, and 4 o'clock came and no one had put their papers in. And
I got to ask this because in knowing you, and you're the, let me just tell you this about Brad West, okay? When the phone rings, he answers it. He comes on and he talks about the difficult conversations, always available. And when people are like, you just love Brad West. Yeah, we do. Because you speak the truth, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you very
much. My heart broke a little bit that you didn't have that campaign to do, to be celebrated in the way and the popularity of the people of Port Coquitlam who absolutely adore you. Do you kind of wish you could have gone through the whole process?
I do. I love the process. I know there's some elected officials who are like, oh, I have to talk to the people. Can I avoid that?
Yeah.
I actually love that. I love doing it. I'm going to still do it. I've already been doing it. I'm going to still go through that process because I think it's important that people have access to the folks that they elect to represent them.
Yeah. So. Let me ask you this, though. What does it say about the state of politics in this province when almost 40 mayors are just simply reelected by acclamation?
Yeah, I think that in each individual circumstance, there's going to be different reasons why.
Right.
In some of the smaller communities, it's really hard to get people to do this type of work.
Yeah.
In other places, I think it would show that generally people are pretty positive and feeling good about the direction of the community.
True.
And there's no doubt that, especially in this kind of the COVID and everything we've gone through, there's a level of nastiness that has revealed itself. And I know that for a lot of people, they look at that and they're like, no, I'm not signing up for it.
Have you experienced any of that, and what have you experienced?
I have actually, and this is the first time I've mentioned this, but it just happened, I guess, last week. A gentleman was pled guilty to threatening myself and my family.
In what way?
Well, to kill us. He had an issue with our bylaw team, which really has nothing to do with me as mayor, but became really fixated on the idea that I should, be able to do something for him. And unfortunately, this was a situation where mayor's just not involved in it. And over a period of time, he became more and more agitated and made a number of threats, first against me, then against me and my wife, then against me and my wife and my kids.
No.
And police actually found him with a replica handgun.
And
that was the point at which a line was crossed from the view of the police. And so he was arrested and charged and pled guilty just last week.
Does that make you question being an elected official? Does that, in that moment when those threats, because it's one thing for it to happen to you,
and
it's another thing for your wife to be involved, and then it's an altogether different thing when somebody is speaking about your child.
Yeah, it really shook me up because I have big shoulders. I'm used to having criticism, as we all do, and sometimes that criticism can be personal. But to me, family, my wife, especially my 2 young boys, that was something that I took really seriously, and that's why I pursued the matter and insisted that you just don't turn a blind eye to it. You don't just kind of brush it off as, oh well, it's just an empty threat.
Thank you for sharing that.
You can't, because we have seen elected leaders be injured or even killed by people who have mental health issues and who are angry. And this is a highly toxic time. And I do want to get your thoughts about the fact that, and it was no surprise that the Conservatives elected Pierre Poilievre as their leader, and there has been some criticism leveled at him that his campaign style was to, throw red meat to the aggrieved people and stir the pot. What did you think?
Well, I think a lot of people in our communities, in our province, in our country are upset, and that can give way to anger. People are struggling in a way that they really haven't in the past. I mean, where it's the cost of living, just having to work harder and harder, not being able to get ahead, hanging on by, just your fingertips. And when you're in a place like that, it's easy to be kind of whisked away into a place where you want to point the finger at certain groups or individuals, and so there's no doubt that, like, right now, I just think in our country people are struggling and they're looking for answers. They want we should be looking for solutions, but sometimes people want someone to blame.
Exactly.
I'm going to jump in on municipal politics here. October 15th, 2022, a very important day where very few people actually vote.
Yes.
Everybody complains no one votes. It makes...
I vote.
I
every
vote.
time.
I vote every time I vote. But when it comes to your way of leading, it's so commonsensical. There seems to be so much noise. Promises made, promises unkept, excuses made, called something it's not. Who taught you to be the leader you are?
That would be my mom. My mom raised my sister and I on her own after my dad passed away. She's my hero and role model. She worked 2 jobs and sacrificed, like, I can't even describe the sacrifices she made for her kids. And she really tried to instill in us some values, and I just try and make her proud. And I talk to her all the time about, hey, Mom, dealing with this, and she would say, well, what about this? And she doesn't have maybe fancy degrees or couldn't tell you about our official community plan, but I think, like a lot of regular people, if you want to call them that, she has in her just an innate common sense.
Give her a hi, Mom. Right there. Right there. Let's
And
go.
you know
Hi,
what?
Mom. Hi, Mom. There you go.
Your mom should be proud, and thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is Port Coquitlam Mayor Brad West. Congratulations on your re-election.
Come
Thank
back.
you so much for joining
Absolutely.
us. Really appreciate it.
Honestly.
Coming up next on Steel and Fats, this BC Buccaneer insists his pirate hat is religious headgear, and he is causing a boatload of trouble for ICBC, Jody.
We're going from I love you, Mom, to Linda is so damn mad. You fasten your seatbelt.